Well, hello and good morning to all the party people out there. It's the Diane in the Morning Show here on the Home Business Radio Network. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am excited today to introduce you to a business marketing concept, quite frankly, that your grandma or your mama taught you. You know, everybody's looking for the holy grail and the magic thing and the secret system, and everybody runs back and forth. A lot of times when I watch the industry, it always makes me laugh. I feel like I'm watching a tennis match. Back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Everybody this way, everybody that way, everybody this way, everybody that way. You know, can you imagine if we were all on a ship? Everybody run to this side and the boat would tip. Everybody run to this side, the boat would tip. And everybody's looking and everybody's searching, and nobody's quite sure of what the answer is. But I'm here to testify today. I'm going to testify, okay? I'm going to here testify today that you already know the answers. And the answers are not only, they're common sense, but they're the things that we've been taught since we were young children. And it's always funny because we're all like this, I'm like this, everybody's like this, but I guess as human beings, we're programmed to look for the shortcut path of least resistance, you know, so that we're always looking for something. But, you know, I want to talk today about, you know, why we already know the answer. So before we get into that, first of all, I'm excited to be here today, guys. I just, you know, sometimes I get so energized and I can't wait to be with you guys. There's so much going on out there. I got a lot of good stuff coming up. Next week, I'm in Cancun, Mexico, company incentive trip. So for all of you that get these incredible trips, one, congratulations to all of you that have earned one. So many companies have them. And make sure you're sharing your lifestyle up on the social media sites. Make sure you're sharing it on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff. Then I get back and I turn around and I have a speaking engagement in Colorado. So who do you know in Colorado, in the Denver area? If you need me, you know, get a hold of me, Diane at DianeHochman.com, and say, hey, we're in Colorado. I want to come. Right now there are some seats left. It's a very intimate event, so I'm really looking forward to that. Then I get back. I'm home for a few weeks, and then I'm in Orlando for a whole week, 2 back-to-back events on the weekend. So I think I'm going to stay down there. So if you're in the Orlando area, let me know. You can come to, you know, potentially come to one of the events and or come meet me somewhere for some iced tea or something like that. Be awesome. And guys, I'm always looking for input from you. Last show we did, you know, Q&A coming straight from you guys. And the way you do that is to send a quick tweet to on twitter.com/Diane Hochman. Okay, Hochman, or you can Facebook me at Facebook.com/Diane Hochman Training. And Desiree, I got your tweet. I'm giving a shout out to my gal pal Desiree out on the West Coast. Desiree, I will talk about what you asked me to do very, very soon. So awesome. And the rest of you guys that are giving me a shout out, Tom Bradley, everybody who's saying hi, I appreciate you guys. Definitely keep doing it. Looking for your input, looking for your you know, questions and so on and so forth. So, guys, remember when you were a little kid and, you know, your mom would always tell you, your grandma would always tell you, you know, finish the food on your plate and you can have dessert. Or go ahead and you got to keep your room tidy or you can't go to play with Susie. So on and so forth. They would always talk to you about how you have to eat your veggies so you can grow up big and strong and you can go play ball on Saturday, go to the park. And they were always teaching you about these consistent things that if you develop the habit that they would last with you throughout your whole life. And your parents are trying to teach you about being tidy, about being organized, about eating your vegetables, about drinking water, you know, whatever it was in your household. They were trying to teach you very hard about consistency and that over the long run, that those habits would pay off. They were trying to create the habits, sustain the habits, encourage the habits, knowing that those habits would last with you for the rest of your life. I mean, if you weren't fortunate enough to have a household where that went on, then you know how important it is. And if you were fortunate enough to have a household where that went on, you know how annoying it was at times. And yet today, we have those habits that were developed by our parents that have lasted us our whole lives. I also think back now, too, and I want to give kudos, and I have no doubt she's passed by now, just because of her age when I had her, but Mrs. Petty, my 10th grade English teacher. I thought she was the most evil B word. I won't use it because I'm a lady, but you know the word I'm talking about, the female dog word, out there. She was my 10th grade English teacher. And let me tell you, she was brutal. Okay, she was brutal. But the thing about Mrs. Petty was that she drilled you and she beat on you until it was clear that, we had this habit of adding to our vocabulary, and we had a habit of reading, and we had a habit. And the reason why you had to develop the habit is because if you came into her class and you hadn't done it, she was going to get you. Okay? She was going to get you. And I just thought she was horrible. And it was like, I remember I finished 9th grade and I got my schedule and I found out I was going to have her. And I was like in tears with my mother. I remember being like, I can't have her. She's the worst. And she's so mean and I'm afraid of her. And my mother said, look, it's just that's who you have. Thank God I had Mrs. Petty. Because not only did I do well on my SATs, but I can write well and I can speak well. And she forced it on me. And it was a total blessing. It took me until I'm like 45 to recognize that. So Mrs. Petty, again, if you're still alive, wow. And if you've passed, rest your soul, because you did a huge service to so many of us. So, and the same thing in this industry, sometimes the mentors that are the best ones are the ones that are the hardest on us. You know, my biggest mentor, he beat the doo-doo out of me, okay? He knew what my capacity was, he knew what I could do, and he always demanded more of me. And I am who I am today because of that mentor and several others that didn't let me off the hook. So here's the deal. This game, building your business, is not about the secret technique, the secret website, the secret leads, and everybody thinks they're special leads or something like that. All those things that we wish were true. And the same is with health and wellness. It's not about the secret diet pill and eating, some people will think, well, if I eat blueberries or pineapple or cabbage or whatever it is this week, I'm going to be thin and healthy and trim. It's about a series of habits that we develop that when we're consistent, what happens is there's a snowball effect. I'm 45 right now, and it's interesting to watch. Right about now, 45 to 50 is when the great divide happens. The people who took care of their health versus the people that didn't. The people took care of their skin versus the people that didn't. And what happens is one group starts to age rapidly, and the other group stays vital. And looks great and feels great and stays very, very active. One group ends up sitting down on a couch and never getting up again, and the other group never sits down for the rest of their life. It's the great divider. And all of that is based upon habits that were created probably between 20 and 45. So it all accumulates. Now, Jim Rohn said, and I love this, again, guys, JimRohnStuff.com, go check out Jim Rohn if you're not familiar with him. He has tapes over there that are extremely inexpensive, as full sets. He's the master, one of my biggest mentors. And Jim Rohn said, the saying says, an apple a day, and you know what comes next. It didn't say a Hershey bar a day, and I just always thought that was so funny. An apple a day, eating well, this and that, keeps us healthy. Hershey bar a day and a pint of ice cream a day and this and that, a lot of, alcohol every day, it adds up over time, and then all of a sudden we see the repercussions. We don't see them in a day. So it's the same here with our businesses. We don't see the repercussions of the consistency until, boom, sometimes it's a year or 2 or 3, or in my case 13, that all of a sudden we see the profound impact of consistency versus complacency, okay? I want you to think about it. One of our biggest goals, I always say there's 4 C's that we do in our business. There is nothing else. There is nothing else. We collect the leads, we collect them, we get them to notice us, whether it's ads or flyers or talking to people or wearing buttons or signs or however you're doing it. We collect them. We capture them. We get their name, their email, their phone number. We capture them. We communicate with them. We're either calling them up or we're sending them letters or we're emailing them or, postcards, videos, however we're communicating. And then the fourth step is closing them. Okay. So there's a snowball effect because if we are consistently collecting and capturing and learning how to communicate better, we naturally, without any real additional struggle, close more often. And if we are consistently collecting and capturing and improving our communication skills and closing more often, what happens is we have more leverage because we have more people in our team. And when we have more people in our team and we're creating systems that collect, capture, communicate, and close, the leverage becomes exponential. So one person is doing a meeting or doing a conference call or doing a webinar, and they only have 3, 4, 5 people there, which in the beginning is awesome, but after a year or two, it's not so good. And another person is doing a call, a meeting, a webinar, and they have 500 people there. And the reason why they do is because they've been extremely consistent with collecting, capturing, communicating, and closing. So a lot of people are looking for the magic script or the magic presentation or something that will make people sign up instantly. But what we're really looking for is the leverage of the consistency. If you're adding one person that's really going to build with you each quarter, I mean, that sounds so little. We're recruiting a bunch of people, and we're just adding one guy that's a charger. The leverage of you and your 4 hard chargers that you find over the course of the year becomes ridiculously crazy. And this is how we go from making a few bucks a month to a few thousand a month to a few $100,000 a month. There's no magic pill. There's no secret, system. What there is consistency. Now, another lesson that we get from Jim Rohn and many other trainers, but Jim said it so eloquently, was he called it Sinaloa, safety in numbers and the law of averages. Okay, and he explained how a new guy could beat the biggest pro in the game. And he said, well, what if you're new, and you know that your batting averages, basically your rate of close during presentations is 1 out of 10. You can only get one guy out of 10. It seems almost like frustrating. I'm making so many presentations. I'm getting so many no's. It feels so crummy. But if you have gumption and you have vigor and if you have consistency, you can beat the top guy in the company that has a closing ratio of 9 out of 10. Most people go, how can you compete? How can you beat that guy? How can you beat him? The answer is simple. It's safety in numbers and the law of averages. If you know that you get 1 out of 10, you just have to do enough presentations. So, because he's so comfortable and he's so, used to this, he's going to do 10 presentations, he'll get 9. If you do 100, you'll get 10. And you can beat anybody with the law of averages. And then what happens is that if you are doing something that consistently, what do you think happens? It's funny. I go back to Mrs. Petty, my English teacher. And, at the beginning of the year, her tests were agony. You'd have a vocabulary test. And it was so hard because you had to memorize all this stuff and you had to learn it. Well, by the springtime, it was easy because there was a system. We had learned a mechanism, a system, a way to memorize those words and commit them into our consciousness. Just like you learn a presentation, you commit it into your consciousness and you're able to do it. I could do a presentation with my, blindfolded, hanging from my toes in the dark, It's so much a part of me. I live it. I breathe it. How do you get good at that? You do it. How did I do well on my SATs? Because Mrs. Petty beat the doo-doo out of me all year, so that by the time I got to the SAT, it was in my subconscious. See, most folks won't make that commitment and do that little bit because it's not fast enough, it's not slick enough, it's not exciting enough. But in the end, until we make the commitment to do those numbers, we can't get skilled. I relate this to the real world. A lawyer has to go through years and years and years of school and then has to go into the court and litigate, and they're going to lose. And they're going to fail, and they're going to struggle. And that's how they get good. They sharpen their saw. They hone that skill until they become the best of the best. When you come out of the gate, you're a clerk. You can't charge $600 to $1,000 an hour. The best lawyers can. Why? Because they're that skilled. And it's the same reason why the best marketers can make that kind of money, because they're that skilled. The best doctors come out of the gate, they come out of medical school, they can barely put in a stitch, they can barely put in an IV. What makes the ones go on to become master surgeons and masters in their particular fields and be able to charge ridiculous amounts of money? It's that skill. So why do we believe that this industry is going to be any different than any other industry out there? To me, I think is kind of kooky, because here's the end game. Everything depends on the value that we bring to the marketplace. We bring a skill, a value. We inspire people. We move people. We present well, whatever the skill may be. You're the best person that does house parties with facials. You're the best person that does the decorating parties. I don't know what your programs are, what you're selling, what you're marketing. You're the best at building a capture page that converts well. You're the best copywriter. The more valuable you become, the more money you make. And the catch-22, the game is that in order to become good, you have to be bad. You can't become good unless you're bad a whole bunch of times until you become good. And that safety in numbers is what I love. Because if you start really collecting and capturing people over time, the next thing you know, when your company comes out, see, this is the magic that I learned early on. I'm selling weight and health products and this and that, and I'd go to the company convention. And they'd come out with a new product, and everybody would be so excited. It was incredible. It was going to solve so many people's problems. But most people, when they left the convention, they had nobody to go tell. Because they had blown away all the relationships, and they hadn't built up that list, and they didn't have the database. Me, I could come home, I could send out one email, and I could sell hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the product. It's fascinating. The difference, and the only difference was, because I would send out the same email that somebody else would send out, the difference was that I had been consistent in the accumulation of the list of interested parties. It's the same if I was doing a meeting or if I was doing a webinar. I was consistent in accumulating those people so that when I sent out an invite, most people find out the owner of the company is coming to town. You have an opportunity to put people in front of him. Everybody that gets in front of him joins. It's like a slam dunk. But if you haven't accumulated those people, you have nobody to invite. If you have nobody to invite, you have no guests. If you have no guests, you have no shot to have that master close for you. You don't have to be a master closer from the beginning. Gosh knows I'm not. You don't have to be a master writer of letters. Gosh knows I'm not. You don't have to be the slickest, the fanciest, the this, the that. Gosh knows I'm not. If there's one thing that I am, it's been that I've been consistent. And I know that this is not what most people want to hear. They want to hear me tell you there's the magic system. But I'm begging you to hear me because this is the magic system. And it's so simple and it's so easy. If you would go now and collect those people. I was on the phone with a guy the other day who's one of my team members. And for some reason, he's just really struggling to understand this concept. And maybe because of the way he was brought up in the industry. He is running ads, which is awesome. And the ads are pulling. He's getting leads. But then instead of accumulating the leads into a database of people that let you communicate with them over and over again, he wants to close them right away. He wants to get them right away. And you can't get people. You can only communicate with them, and then when their time is right, when the offer is right, they'll buy. You can't get them. You can't. I'm making quote marks with my hands. You can't squeeze them. You can't get them. And if you do get them, if you convince them, they won't perform. And then that's not going to give you what you want for your business. Everything that you need to know about building your business was taught to you by your mama, your grandma, your daddy, your grandpa, maybe an auntie. When they told you to put your plate away after dinner, rinse it off and clean it and put it away so that a mess didn't accumulate. When they told you to pull the weeds in the garden so they didn't choke the tomatoes. When they told you to brush your teeth. If you're my age, you know if you didn't brush your teeth and floss your teeth, you're having some problems now. If you did brush your teeth and floss your teeth, you're watching everybody else having gum surgery and you're giggling because your teeth are awesome. They told you to take a walk around the block. They told you to get some fresh air. They told you to get some sunshine. Not too much sunshine. Don't get too much sun, but you got to get some. It's all in that moderation. It's all in that consistency. And it's all in deciding that you are worth developing those habits. You don't understand all of this generally until you get to be older or until your business has matured. If you're looking at your business and you've been in business for a while and you're looking at it, if you've been in business for a couple of years and you're not hitting those 6 figures that you want, the problem lies in this area. Okay? The problem lies in this area. I promise you. I promise you. The problem lies in this area. And any day, at any time, you can make a decision to correct it. If you're living in a fantasy and you're not being realistic about the type of effort that you're putting into your business, you're going to get no results. Now, here's what's cool. You can even, if you put in a small but consistent effort, it can accumulate over time. If you put in effort that is up and down and up and down and up and down, you're going to have challenges. And obviously, if you don't put in any effort, a lot of people like, I want to learn how to run ads. They run 2 ads and they're done. Didn't work. I hear people all the time. I'm a expert at what we call attraction marketing on the internet. I did it. It doesn't work. I ran ads. It doesn't work. I did meetings. It doesn't work. It all works. It all works. And what's cool is you can transfer your business into any of these features, any of these types of models. I could switch to meetings tomorrow and have lots of people going over here. I could switch to, teleseminars. I could switch to webinars. I could switch to classified ads. I could switch to Craigslist ads. Doesn't matter. What matters is that you make the decision to do this day in, day out, like clockwork. Now, I want to talk to you, that was for everybody, but now I want to talk to those of you that are making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month, and you're hitting a ceiling. You're hitting a ceiling and you can't get past it. There's 2 things that I want you to do. One is I want you to work on your prosperity consciousness. I want you to build your receiving muscle. Many people, when they hit a place where they can't take their income up any higher, it should be able to keep going up. Yeah, you're going to have ups and downs and dips and and so on, but it should be able to consistently go up. If you've hit a ceiling and you've been going for a year or more and you can't break the ceiling, you need to work on your receiving consciousness, your prosperity consciousness. Tweet me or email me, Diane@DianeHochman.com. I'll give you some suggestions on things you can be working through to help you lift. That's a self-imposed ceiling. If you're stuck, and you've been stuck for a long time, it's a self-imposed ceiling. Okay? 1. And 2, if you're at $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and you want to go to 10, I want you to put your blinders on and I want you to make a decision that for 90 days, you're going to go all in. You're going to do it like you're brand new. A lot of times when we've been around the block, and I'm guilty of this, so I'm not throwing stones, I'm just saying what's worked for me. We get a little complacent, we get a little comfortable because we know we can make that money. It almost becomes like a given, especially if it's residual. So we get kind of a little complacent, we lose that fire, we lose that spark, we lose that passion. And I really want you to sit down and go back to the beginning in your mind and think about how excited you were and the belief level you were at and the time in your business when you were doing your best. I want you to find that place again. And I want you to make a decision that for 90 days you're going to go on onslaught with you. But remember, this time, if you're at the level $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, you have a team. So you have the ability to exponentially explode because you have the leverage of the other people. It's not just you this time. So I want you to settle in, make a commitment, and blitz for 90 days like your life depends on it. If you do it, and if you work on that prosperity consciousness, you'll be able to crash through that ceiling. And I want to hear you come back, and I want to hear the stories, and I want to hear the joy and the bliss of what you've been able to accomplish and do for your family. So, guys, as always, I'm extremely excited to be involved with the Home Business Network, Home Business Radio Network, excuse me. If you go to homebusinessradionetwork.com, you'll find we have a brand new widget. You can put it right on your blogs and stuff. You can share the Home Business Radio Network with your teams, with your colleagues. You can listen to it right from your own site. Absolutely incredible. Of course, you also can download the app so you can listen on your smartphone anywhere you go. Take us with you. We're happy to be in your pocket and be part of your lives. We're very excited. And of course, myself, I feel blessed and honored to be able to share my experience with you. And I truly, truly, truly look forward at seeing you in an event in the future, whether it's I have my own events coming up. Contact me if you want to hear about those or any of the other events I'm speaking at. I truly, truly, truly look forward to having you as a participant in my email list at dianehockman.com. And I truly look forward to hearing your success stories about what you've accomplished, where you've gone. And if you have an exciting story or something you're doing right now that you think would benefit a lot of people, please get with me. I'd love to have you as a guest on the show. We'll bring you into Diane in the morning. We'll wake everybody up with your story, get them jazzed up, and really get people cooking. Guys, it's your business. It's your time. It's your way. It's all in your hands. And I promise you, you can do this. I did this. I was broke. I had a baby under each arm. We were in deep debt. The bill collectors were calling. And we dug deep inside and we said, I will not be denied. I'm more than my life circumstances. And that's the choice that each and every one of us has, to declare that we are going to do it and set the example for our children and our grandchildren and show everybody out there that freedom is our right and freedom is something that anybody can have. So that's it for today. I appreciate all of you. Go be consistent and go thank your mama and your grandma. Give them a kiss on the forehead and tell them how much you appreciate them this week. This has been the Diane in the Morning Show here on the Home Business Radio Network. We'll see you next time. Take care.